One of the requests I get the most from couples is wanting more intimacy, wanting to feel closer. Oftentimes, especially in longer term relationships, they start to drift away from each other and they want to know how to come back and deepen their connection. One of the best ways to do that is eye gazing. I know it can maybe seem corny to some people, and in fact, most people actually find it very difficult. It's one of the sweetest, most intimate, most loving, tender experiences you can create with somebody. You know, they have this saying that the eyes are the gateway to the soul. Well, those poets are right. And in order to do this well without being like super corny or creepy, is you want to break up like the giver and the receiver. You want someone to be the gazer and someone else to be receiving the gaze and letting that person in. And so, as the person that is doing the gazing, you want to have really soft eyes and like a soft body position. And with this soft gaze, not a staring gaze, where are you? That's the kind of like the creepy vibe. The soft gaze is respectful, it's curious, and it's tender. And as you like are looking into this person through their eyes, you want to breathe together. You should be silent. At times people want to kind of giggle or they want to make a joke, but that's just a sign that they're uncomfortable. So do your best to sort of tolerate the first few seconds of, wow, this is vulnerable. And you know, vulnerability is an interesting thing. Did you know that vulnerable actually translates to woundable, which is probably why it's hard to let someone look inside of you, look into you. But it's so important because we need to be seen. There's a very deep human need to be seen and to be met. So, as the giver sends a soft, curious gaze into another person's eyes, try to aim for looking into their heart, looking into their throat. You know, it might be obvious as to why someone might, gaze into the heart, but why would you gaze into somebody's throat? I mean, you can't literally look inside the throat, but your gaze can kind of travel. And what you'll notice is that you can actually sense and feel and see the things that they don't have words for, or the words that are stuck, that they haven't been able to speak their truth. And then as you go into the heart, you can see like the beauty of who they are, and also the places that might still be closed and tight. Another really fun, sexy thing to do is to travel all the way down to the sexy bits below the navel and just sort of be in the space of attraction and magnetism and awe. Don't be surprised if tears show up. In fact, I always tell people you get bonus points if any tears show up, because this can be it's really going to test trust, right? And what's interesting about trust is it's a door that opens on our side. I tend to be very optimistic about trusting people. I think trust can be easy, but it's something you have to work on. So, do you trust yourself to let somebody really see into you? And what do you think it would be like to see into somebody else? You know, part of the agreement when we show up in vulnerability as adults, the reason why it's so hard in the first place is that our memories of it when we were kids, we felt overexposed or we felt embarrassed or humiliated. And that's our connection to vulnerability. But as adults, it's critical that we learn how to say yes to vulnerability because it's what brings us close. I think people are so scared because it's like, if you see all what's inside, if you see all my guts, oh my God, I know you're not going to like what you see and you're going to run away. But here's the truth. We are most lovable when we are really showing who we are. We are most lovable when we are tender and we let somebody in. So you can take this in stages. It's not like you have to pour every part of your life history out in one eye gaze. You'll take turns going back and forth of being the gazer and the one receiving the gaze. Now, here's a tip for those that really struggle with eye contact. What tends to happen is you can kind of see the anxiety arising and they start to want to, look away. And they have a hard time staying focused with the gaze. Have a lot of compassion in these moments. Have compassion for yourself if this happens to you, and have compassion for your partner if it happens for them. And one of the beautiful ways that I've encountered that helps increase someone's capacity for hanging out in that gaze is to direct them to leave the eye gaze and then come back to the eye gaze. Permission to go and then permission to come back. What you'll notice is that they'll be able to sustain the times for the eye gazing longer and longer and longer. So typically it looks like this if I were to guide it. I would start with having a little bit of an eye gaze, breath, maybe it's just a second or two, and then thank you. Now look at my jaw. Now look at my eyes. Now look at my nose. Now look at my eyes. Notice the shape of my cheekbones and the color of my skin. Take it all in. And now look at my eyes. Now look at my nose. And now look at my eyes. And let's just breathe here for 2 breaths. And so you get the idea. The point in doing that is one of the keys to eye gazing being so effective is that we're being present with somebody. And so even if my partner can't look into my eyes the whole time, me supporting them and taking in my face and noticing the details of me is helping them be present, be real. They're building an intimacy muscle, and we both get to win. So I hope you take this for a little test drive. There's more on these energy centers. I mentioned only 3 of them. That was the throat, the heart, and the genitals. I've got some wonderful handouts that describes the psychology of these 7 genius zones, and I will be happy to get you a set. Just follow the link and I will give you a form and you'll be able to download them. My name is Leah Piper. I'm with More Love Works. And I know, do this on a date. Maybe it's like the second, third, or fourth date, maybe not the first date. But if you really start to like someone and you're hitting it off, this is a really cool way to start feeling even more ooh-la-las.